Yeah, I mean, there's snowfall ops, which is happening during winter. Usually there's like 2 months in between every operations, right?
Hmm.
And snowfall ops is like a really special one because during Christmas, everyone gets kind of together with their loved ones and
Welcome to Metaverse Degen. I'm Lion. No rap today. He's doing a few things with his family, but we are here joined by our wonderful guests. I don't know who to start first. Do you want one of you two? I don't know. Who wants to go first?
We can go first. All right. Welcome. We are the AWMC Industries. My name is Nox Vardin. I'm a staff sergeant. And over here, we have our
Hello.
lovely bunny. Do you want to...
I'm Loyal Angel. I'm an ISB and warrant officer level 3.
Oh. And who are you?
I'm Evoxy. I'm one of the founders of the community and glad to be here.
Well, it is an absolute honor to have all of you on. It's a pleasure to hear all about the group. Would you mind letting us know who you are, what got the group started, and what got you into VRChat?
Sure. So, to look back at the history of AWMC Industries, you would need to look a couple years back, and maybe the Archon wants to explain more for herself. If you want to talk about how we got into VRChat ourselves, that's a different story. But I'm not sure if you want to elaborate, or shall I cover it?
I mean, sure, you can do it.
All right. Then I'll give you the general overview. So as the name already implies, AWMC Industries, it already sounds a bit like an amalgamation of two names, right? So you have AWMC part and Industries. The history behind is that many, many years ago, there is another group, which is called AWMC, which is the Allied Rifle Military Marine Corps. Back then, we basically split off, if you so will, from the AWMC. It's a long time ago, and I'm not going to go into the details because it's many, many, many years ago. So back then, AWMC Industries was mostly a creator group. So people who would make avatars, people who would create worlds, assets, and other things for VRChat, founded by the Archon over there, as well as another person. And it was a closed group. That means you needed another person to invite you. So it was not a public group where you could just say, hey, I want to join, and without knowing anyone. But it was more like, I don't want to call it exclusive club because that would be a bit far stretched, obviously. But it was basically in a sense of you need to be referred. So you need to know somebody from inside who can vouch for you to make sure that we have really good quality. And we try to keep those. But a couple years ago, I think it's almost a bit over 2 years ago by now, we went semi-public. Is it 2 years ago? Like
Was way longer ago, but I don't know if it's so necessary to go into this much detail.
You got me talking. I asked you if you want to explain.
I can explain it, but I don't know if it's appropriate because is this live?
You're recording. It's not live streamed. It's recorded.
Ah, okay. I mean, I can try it again to explain it again or give at least some input because I think we just keep it really short in this regard.
Okay.
Oh. So, well, the AWMC Industries was founded like around 6-7 years ago. And we founded as a developer community. We're creating assets for other communities. So it's like ally ships with this clone troopers of VRChat, basically with Void Resonance or with Iron Cross. We had like many, many ally ships with I think 6-7 other communities. And we were basically building their maps and we were helping them out. We helped them with some avatars. So it was all about helping other communities as a developer group. But over time we realized that's obviously I mean, it's a noble endeavor, but obviously people in our community eventually want to get out a little bit there and I guess want to enjoy the fruits of their labor, right? So obviously over time people wanted to have credit and people wanted to have to like show themselves a little bit, okay, I'm doing this for the community and I want equivalently be rewarded for it. So over time we grow as a developer community, and then eventually we said, okay, let's open up, make an event so that we weekly meet up together and just played something together. So it started very casually, and then over time we kind of grown to have more events, more activities, spend more time together, and yeah. So we just invited our friends, not only developers anymore. So it just came a little bit to together. Let's play together thing every week. And over time it developed, and then we thought about, okay, how can we improve this structure? And yes, there's obviously elements that you will recognize from other communities. I mean, the VRChat is pretty vast. So we in the end decided, okay, let's take, at least in our opinion, like I think many communities do, the best aspects of each community, and we build it into our lore, which well, Nox spent a lot of time building. And so we obviously have the freedom as a community that plays in the future, builds on our own lore. We don't have anything established, so that's not like, okay, we can say this is a Star Wars community, doesn't really exist. We cannot really say this is Marvel community or anything. We kind of like had that first hurdle where like, okay, we don't really know what we are yet because we still need to build on the lore. And so we kind of use that as our opportunity to build something our own, something that we think structure-wise makes sense and is mostly benefiting for the people in the community, and try to remove most hostile actions that could be taken against members. Kind of like how many things in real life are enforced. You do this or something else, right? So in our community, it's mostly you do this, and if you do it, then you get rewarded in this sense, right? So we made it really player friendly because we're mostly a social roleplay community, and yeah, there's like roleplay aspects here and there, but mostly we're here to hang out and play any kind of games together. And if it's VRChat or like something else, so you always find the Discord very full and active because the people don't just go to an event and then they just basically leave, but they're actually going to go to the Discord and hang out together.
Oh, well, thank
So
you.
yeah, that's how a developer community becomes a social community.
Oh,
So
wow.
it just built it naturally over time, yeah,
Oh,
towards that direction.
well, thank you for explaining. Thank you for explaining us. I'm very much appreciated. Now, the other part of that first question: what got you three involved in VRChat, and how did you find yourselves in AWMC Industries?
Mm-hmm. Oh. I mean, if it's fine, I can explain everything, and then once everyone heard it, then we can maybe split the content apart. So
Okay.
the spooky can also talk. Um,
Not
so
spooky.
how we first met was Nox and I met like in a different community before, right? And we kind of already became friends, and Nox wasn't really a developer at the start. Angel isn't a developer yet either, but we're gonna change that.
Should I be
But,
scared for my life?
I guess if we wouldn't have to open up to the public and actually said, okay, let's grow out of our shoes and do more than just helping around and creating content, but actually start to build our own little place that we can call home. It wouldn't be really that I ever met any of the cuties here or the cuties at the event, right? So I'm really glad that we did it, because otherwise I would have never met so many of my friends.
Oh,
But why I play VRChat is I just bought an Oculus back in 2018 with my first paycheck I ever had during my education. I was like, let's give it a shot. And then I eventually came in here and was like, oh, that's pretty cool, but there's not really much to do. At least it wasn't mine. You just went into public lobbies, hanged out with people, and you realize over time that VRChat is kind of like a space more like for communities. Like if you don't have like a place where you can stay, where with your friends, I mean, it's all about socializing, all about hanging out with your friends, right?
Mm.
And especially back in the days, it was more difficult because if I would say in a class, hey, don't we play VRChat together? Most people would tell me, what the fuck is VRChat? And why are like people running around in like all different shapes, right? So, yeah, it was even harder back then to just connect with people in real life, but it just opened you up to be more open and see what's behind the facade, right? And especially in the VRChat, I think it's very nice that you learn to get to know the person first before you get to know them, like by their appearance, right? It kind of opens you up, and I think many people who start this game over time also learn, hey, I'm actually pretty fine with that. So some people maybe said, oh, that's really not my thing, or maybe that's kind of weird. You realize, hey, that's not weird anymore, and people open up and basically start identifying themselves in whatever way, like whatever they like, and you realize it's not about the appearance; it's more about the person. And I think that's like a big thing about this game.
Oh, well, thank you for explaining how you found it in your journey. I very much appreciate learning that little bit of lore about you. Oh, wrong camera. Hee hee. Now, what got you two into VRChat, and how did you find yourselves here?
Shall I continue in that case?
Yep. From your own story.
Because for me, it's a much shorter story compared to Evoxy. Because I started in 2020, start of Corona. Already struggled a bit, obviously. I don't want to go too much into my personal life story, obviously. But let's just say I had my own issues due to me moving multiple times, etc. A bit isolated, and then Corona hit me as well. So I was like, you know what, I need something social, like something really social. So I picked up VRChat first in desktop, actually, and just tried it out. Mostly because I saw funny YouTube videos. Let's be real. I saw, how is it called, Ugandan Knuckles running around and doing weird stuff, and saw compilations on YouTube, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to try this out because this seems to be a social game. Was quickly picked up by a military group, or well, a similar to this group basically. So it was a waifu group which had like military aspects. Joined that. I don't even know. I don't even remember how long I was there. I need to check. Honestly, I'm really I think funky with timeline, but I was there at least a year, maybe even 2. At some point, things went down. I don't want to go too much into detail, but I was like, I want something different, and I knew about AWMC Industries already at that time, and through a mutual friend back then, I was able to visit a world after the event ended, actually, and met everyone else there and got introduced, and I liked it, and I stayed. And I've been in AWMC Industries for... No, I don't know. At least 2 years. At least 2 years. Probably longer. I don't know. Maybe 3.
Wow.
I can check later if you really want to, but...
I don't know too. I don't know.
That's all good.
I could check my gallery. I still have pictures when I joined first, but I don't remember when exactly it was. Yes.
Understandable. Thank you for sharing your journey. It was an honor to hear. What about you, Loyal Angel?
I will say it's kind of hilarious in comparison, because you have both Nox and Evoxy having like very heartfelt, like emotional reaction, or like
background lore.
Yeah, well, I'm here. The reason why I joined VRChat and this group as a community was simply because a friend of mine called Sora bugged me to high heaven to get into it, and they would not shut up about it. They were like a mosquito in the summer heat and would not shut up about it, until one day I cracked and said, fine, you win. I will join this little group and see what it's all about. And it's like, God damn it, you were right. Fuck, I like it here. So, contrast, everyone. And I've been a part of the group for like a little bit over a year now. I joined, my first official event was on the 1st of April last year, so my entire existence is a joke. Haha. The joke's on me.
No.
Oh, well, thank you all for explaining your journeys and the start of everything. I very much enjoy hearing the origins. It's one of the things I enjoy. Now, what were some of the first events in the AWMC industries like, and how have they evolved over time? I am quite curious as to that.
Hmm.
I think they are
I
my
mean,
best to explain.
Oh, okay.
yeah, I mean, we started out with like going to drinking night at a Degen drinking night.
Hmm.
What is this called? Degen family drinking night? It has like this moderation voice every time you join. Welcome to the Degen family or something like that. Yeah, so we basically went there. Just there's plenty of simple games over there, right?
Hmm.
But honestly, I think the game section VRChat has developed so far. Like we played things like Grenade Field, and it was crazy and it was simple. There was pool tables didn't exist. So yeah, we started out with that, and over time we just continued with Game Boys, and then we realized, okay, after all that we some little bit military themed, it's maybe a good idea to kind of implement a little bit role play because we all kind of used of that. We most of us like played other games before, right?
Hmm.
We always were like a little bit interested in the military as well. I mean, I played a lot of Arma 3 before that, right? And there's like also something similar to that, right? And either way, many of us have thought, okay, that's a pretty good idea. I mean, after all, we like based on by law on military stuff, but we still want to keep that casual feeling, right? We don't really want to go all in and make it like a medium or hardcore role play, but more like let's keep having fun, having maybe, I mean, it was an 18 plus community, or is still 18 plus community. So we were like, okay, we can think about like drinking, talking about subjects. And so, like, as long everyone is fine with the subject, we take it really casual. And over time, it just become a little bit more affine towards the roleplay side, but it hit its limit very soon. So that's why we call ourselves more like a social roleplay community. We have our trainings, we have our shootings, we have our engagements, right? We have our tournaments. So when it actually becomes like more LP heavy, but most of the time people just want to play, I don't know, the latest games and like that it's currently on the board, right? Like currently we play a lot of Gigas. It's a very popular game. People love it, right?
Hmm.
And yeah, we play a classic thing like Blackout or what do we like Jet Ski Rush. I mean, we have to usually split the instance so everyone can play the game, but still people just vote for the things and we go by the majority vote. We always tell ourselves, yeah, there's things obviously that we want to do, but we usually have to go with the majority because we here to cater to the people, especially when you're like in kind of responsible like in responsible position. And it's not like really it's torture. I mean, if you don't want to play the game, you're still gonna have fun because you're there with your friends. And at the end of the day, you're just trying to give everyone a good time. I think that's like our number one rule. If you want to take responsibility in the community, you gotta have to adjust to the people, not adjust to yourself. Oh well, not don't make them adjust to you, but more like adjust to the people what they want. So it can change any second. It just depends what the people were asking for.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And for all of you, what have been some of your favorite events that you've taken part in? For everybody.
I mean, we can talk about the operations. There's
Oh,
different operations. So we have like those huge special events over the year, multiple of them, or basically try to establish more of them. PGKT is one of them special events because it's pretty much a very long time frame, even though it's like 1.5 weeks. But if you're I mean, you're on the team, right? So you know it's obviously very stressful for the people. I mean, it's obviously enjoyable and a lot of fun, but it's obviously straining and yeah. I think 1.5 weeks is perfectly. It's a perfect time frame. Like it's just around that corner. We say, okay, we have done everything. We've seen everything. It's time to prepare for the next convention. And that's like one of our operations. We go there. We have our rules. We have our like our speeches, just making sure that everyone is kind of on the same level. But besides PGKT and basically advertising the group itself, like by its law and its content, we have no public appearances. Besides that, we keep to ourselves. We like a little bit more private. We try to not stay in public. We kind of want to ensure that the people in the community enjoy their time at their fullest, but just knowing that they're in like a safe environment where they basically just can talk to like-minded individuals. And that's why most events are private. And yeah, our operations. Well, the next one is like Elite Ops, which is basically a tournament between the fire teams in the community. So the community itself splits into companies, and those companies have like smaller teams within them, like teams of 20. That's like currently 5, or going to be 6 soon, at least for the units, for the infantry area. And they're going to be contesting against each other in multiple disciplines, right? In like shooting disciplines, like in accuracy and like PvP combat, hopefully this year, right? And we're gonna see who will come out victorious and get the most points. And this is like one of our special events. I think I love it to do it, and people usually not only get rewarded for their victories, but also for their individual talents, I guess. Like, you don't have to be on the victor's team to win. You can also just be really good in what you're doing on that discipline, and you still will be acknowledged for that. So it's like accommodating the fire team itself, basically, who've been training really hard and doing a lot of, well, not, I guess, tactical training or prepared for it, and also acknowledging the individual's own talent, who maybe is an exceptional shooter, or maybe like an exceptional team leader, or an exceptional or did maybe something heroic and saved their teammate, right? So it could be basically anything.
Okay.
I think that's my favorite event, like the one strategic event of the year, where people actually like have to work really closely hand in hand. It's also a very emotional time of the year.
It's that it is. The elite operations, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the other big event, which I'd agree on the bigger events. I mean, I'm speaking biased, I'm responsible for it, so I will have to say PJKT. I have to say PJKT. Because simply it has this effect, especially in this community. You have to understand, if you've been in other communities, not just VRChat, keep in mind, like we're talking general communities, it is common that if you make like something bigger, you have anywhere from 5 to 20 people, right? Like that's common numbers you will find. Really big communities can sometimes pull up with bigger numbers, especially if they make really big events. But we drop PJKT, and on the first day of PJKT, we drop in there with 60 people.
Wow.
This is insane. Like, this is just straight up insane, if you ask me, that we are capable of opening an instance and a quarter of our entire community, or more, I don't have the exact numbers, but I'm going to estimate roughly a quarter of our entire community, or a third maybe, is going to be there on that day in that one instance, which only fits, like, I think this year it was like 60 or 80, I think. I think it was 80, right? So this year it was 80, but still, that's more than half the instance. And just having, like, I go on into a random time to visit PJKT, to visit our little booth. Little. I'm not sure if you were at PJKT this year, but it wasn't little.
No, it was a
tower.
giant tower. You can't miss it. As soon as you enter, go up the stairs from the station, there's the giant tower staring at you. You can't miss it.
Such a beauty, like this giant tower. But you get me. I log in on some random time, and I go to that tower, and there's a dozen, and I'm not exaggerating, there is a dozen of our people in a 30-person instance. 12 of them is our own people at the damn booth, hanging out, having fun. And this is something. I'm in many Discords. I've been in many communities over the years. Since I'm a child, I've always been in random online communities. I cannot tell you any other community so far which manages to have such a high percentage of people being there, having fun, enjoying themselves, and talking with basically everyone else. without anyone constantly being like, oh, I don't like this person, oh, I don't like this person, and oh, drama. No, we don't have that. Barely ever. Like, I don't want to say it never ever happens, right? Like, you can't always avoid stuff like that, but the amount is so little that it's barely noticeable. And this, at PJKT, you really notice people getting together to do something together awesome. And this year, I'd have to check my exact schedule, but I'm pretty sure we hit like at least 20 out of 24 hours every single day where we had people at that damn booth, which is insane. It's basically around the clock for 10 days straight. There is somebody who was willing to, with no major benefit getting for them, to go there, represent our community because they love the community and love to do that. And this is every year. Like, yeah, this is the second time we do PJKT where we are represented. And last year it was already amazing. This year it was amazing again, and I'm sure next year it will be again.
Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing that. I'm glad PGKT means so much to you. I've heard how much it has meant to a lot of people since my involvement, and I'm glad to see it bring people together like yourself. What about you, Angel?
Well, I'm not really sure which one I would say is like the one that attracts me the most, because for me, I would say basically it might sound cheesy, but as long as I can hang out with my friends, I think it's a baller time. But I will definitely say though that PGKT specifically holds a specific place in my heart, because I was so new to the entire group when that was happening last year, and I met some amazing friends during that time that I might even consider close to family.
Wow. Oh. Well, I'm very happy that PGKT is
best time of the year. The best time of the year is when Angel gets bought ice cream.
Hey, ice cream and friends and a happy camper.
Oh, well, thank you very much for explaining that. And you mentioned earlier large operations. Is PJKT and the competitive event you mentioned, are those the only two large special operations?
No.
May I hear about the rest of them?
There's like multiple. Yeah, I mean, there's Snowfall Ops, which is happening during winter. Usually there's like 2 months in between every operations, right? And Snowfall Ops is like a really special one because during Christmas, everyone gets kind of together with their loved ones, and well, yeah, kind of like, unfortunately, not everyone has like that experience, right? I mean, I maybe spend time with my family, right? But some other people maybe doesn't have that option, right? So there's plenty of people in the community who basically actually free during Christmas and free during winter, and we have the scheduled events, right? When luckily that's the only time of the year when time zones become in really handy, because obviously there's not Christmas around the year at the same time, right? So that's when it becomes really handy to have time zones. So while other people maybe cannot celebrate with their friends or with their family, right? They can celebrate with us. So we usually, our last year we had like our Snowfall Ops, what, like 2-3 weeks, right? There's like quests and dailies people can do, right? To get like little rewards here and there. But most importantly, there's like special events around the year, which are a little bit more, I guess, Christmas themed. And on top of that, well, we just spend time together so that there's something people can get together with, and so that we can have a Christmas even though they don't celebrate it like at that place, right? So we kind of bring a little bit Christmas into it, and usually ended up with a snowball fight at the new Java that came out. That was pretty fun. And what else? There was something distinguished I had in my mind that was really silly, but it doesn't drop into my head right now.
Okay.
Either way, we basically have our Snowfall Ops, and then then there's New Year's, right? Usually that ends up in a little bit of a drinking party. But that's like one time of the year where what's basically excused. We usually say if as long it's moderately and as long you can kind of stay within the rules, right? Be polite about things. I guess people can drink. It's after all an 18+ community, right? And then we just hang out. Usually things become a little bit more open when these things happen. And we end up in MacroLab. MacroLab is basically one of our games where you basically have a table and you have like a robot that decides if it's your turn or not, and then people can choose their truth or dare. It's a pretty simple but pretty fun game, and it kind of serves the purpose of socializing because it makes people interact with each other and kind of like also open up. So that's a really popular game, especially when you're like a little bit intoxicated. But we don't tell people to do it. We say if you can do it responsibly and you want to do it, fine. Either way, then there comes Easter Ops, which is doing for like the Easter bunny stuff, right? It's like egg hunts, fighting big chicken boss or whatever, right? There's like multiple basically Easter games that we then play and also attached to like rewards and things that you can get, right? Maybe like medals or so on. Followed up, they're gonna be like community votes. Community votes happen like once a year. That's when we basically vote individuals in community. The community has like time frame of like a week to vote for their favorite beans in every category. So you have like Lawyer Angel over there who joins the community like literally a month before that vote happened, and immediately cleared up two medals in 2 categories.
Yeah,
It was
I have
really
no idea
solid.
how I
Like,
did that. I was just chatting with people and being social. I was like, wait,
Yeah.
It
people tolerate.
worked.
Yeah.
And you can
Yeah, the
see
votes serve the
the
purpose.
ribbons here on that little
Mhm.
placard below the upper part
Yeah,
is
they
the, I'm not
also
sure if you
have the
can see it
little
on the camera
icons.
from the distance, but the upper part is the company logo, and then, well, in this case it's the ISP logo, and then below you have the various ribbons a unit has acquired.
Ah.
Mhm.
Oh.
They also have the little icons in Discord, so whatever you own is gonna be displayed in Discord too, right? With that new icon feature of ours. That's at least how we abuse them. But yeah, there's a community votes happen, and the community votes exist solely to accommodate those people who do exceptionally well, right? So people notice it and appreciate it. Like if you're like a general positive person, a person that get people hyped, a person who's basically very engaged, people will most likely vote you for this category simply because that's what they think about you over the year, right? They spend so much time with them. You're like, wow, this is a great person. I want the people to acknowledge this, and I want this person to feel happy that that I actually see it as something positive, right? Like every individual has their own vote. That's why I said I. Um, so it happens with any other category, right? There's categories for teamwork, right? So people that you realize, dang, this person that saved my butt multiple times, right? And there's also people who basically get commended for being like really approachable and really helpful, basically someone you can talk to, right? Like this being over there. And there's also things where like there's also accommodations for people who like very good at taking out other people, right? And so the general individual you don't want to have in the enemy team, right? So that's usually something which can be annoying, but it's like the one time a year where people are like, okay, fair. Like if I see this person on the battlefield, I usually make a U-turn. Right? so that's also one way to vote and accommodate that. So after the Easter Ops, usually we plan something, but because we try to be really involved this year in PGKT, we spent like 4 months preparing for it, right? So Nox over there basically made a lot of plans how we would count people's activity, how we gonna count people's contribution. And I myself was like spending more time designing the tower than building the tower. It was a huge effort because it was supposed to be optimized, and I'm really proud to say that this like I could probably use the tower as an avatar. And if I cut it here and there a few little corners, I think I could even make it a green avatar. Like I put a lot of time in it, and it's very, very optimized. Like the entire tower is like maybe 14 to 15 megabyte gigabyte. It's like it's basically smaller than the size of an avatar. From the polygon count, I guess I have to cut it down a little bit, but it's like it could be a green avatar if I cut down here and there. it's really optimized. I was surprised about it, and it's very hard to do because it's obviously really organic shape, right? It has a lot of curves, a lot of like there's no like straight walls. There's a lot of detail, a lot of curves, a lot of shape, right? And then usually as curvy and as organic something becomes, as more polygons you need to spend on those on those attributes, right? Like a straight wall obviously has 4 corners, right? If you have something that is basically well, how do you call this in English? Wrapping around something, or something that is like shape of like really curving organic, you obviously need more polygons to make it look like that.
Wow.
Either way, huge preparation went into it, and I'm really happy that we were able to help more at PGKT. I myself joined the media team. I was really happy that I was able to help a lot. I hope I'm going to be able to help a lot in the coming years. And if anything, I think that's proof simply that we have probably a really pretty bright path up ahead on us. Like, I'm really looking forward to continue working with PGKT, and the people have a blast, right? That's, I think that's the number one reason, right? We had a great time last year, and we had even a better time this year. And as Nox said, many people were active all around the booth. I guess we are used in the social environment, so I mean, it's obviously helps if we have a video play or like a pool table or games or shooting range. Obviously helps, right? But because we mostly a social community, right? People are just used to hang out with one another, and I guess the content for us lays in the person you're hanging out with, and less about where you hang it out with.
Okay. Well, I will start with the tower was impressive, I'll say. I very much enjoyed looking at that this year. It's like, as I said, it's one of the first things you notice when you go into the festival this year, and exploring it was crazy. Like,
Trust me, people haven't found the tower. Like, I had people like, oh, so where's your booth, guys? So nobody's at the booth. Like, what do you mean nobody is at the booth? I didn't find your booth. Like, I used the trade tracking and went to there's like a second booth, like a smaller one, right? I just submitted just in case, and they were like, why is nobody here? Well, there's usually someone there, but most people are obviously hanging out at the corporate. At the corporate booth, and I was like, how did you miss that? Like, what do you mean you didn't find it?
I promise we'll fix that next year, because this year we had people always to be at the tower. Okay, so because we were like, well, that if you like enter the world, a giant tower, so obviously you're gonna put people there. Next year, I already have planned that we will split up and always will have people at both locations at the same time. So people cannot tell us that there's no one at the booth anymore, because we'll have, if we still have the tower next year, we will have people at both. I promise that. 24 hours this time. 24 hours. Mark my words.
That's the other way to do it. I was thinking we just route the waypoint system next time to the tower, and then we took in our booth, we put like a sign like, hello guys, if nobody is here, we're currently at the tower, happy smiley face. like we could just put a sign up there.
Oh.
Or maybe like a bell, maybe you can ring it and then someone comes over. It's like a reception desk.
Oh God.
Angel can do that. Angel, bespoke.
You dropped that role on me last week.
Yes, we will give you a little sign. You will stand in the booth with a sign, holding it up and like turning left and right, and and it's
Sure.
like,
it's like
go
a
to the tower.
sign.
Go to the tower.
Tiny bunny with sign.
You have to throw it and just spin it.
Yes.
You guys put a doorbell on the non-tower booth. You do realize people just push that button for fun, right? There's a button people push it.
That's why we got bespoke. I'm kidding.
Oh God.
So a question I have for you guys as well is, among the years you've been running events and hanging out as a community, what have been some favorite memories of yours from within the community? What has stuck with you three?
to the game, feel the rush ignite. Digital battlegrounds, neon in the night. Adrenaline surges, heartbeats collide. Ready for the challenge, no place to hide. The virtual gauntlet awaits, dive into the fray. Feel the power, feel the thrill, light up the way. In this world of thoughts, the legends are made. Push the limits, let the fire invade.
Oh,
God,
It was.
10,000 hours of workload. Man, my vacation days, I have a full-time job, and I was like streaming a little bit here and there before. I mean, I tried to stream a lot, and the community just grew to a point where it's like so time-consuming. I kind of had to cut corners in my other areas in life. So right now I'm like just literally doing my work every day. 10, 11 hours later, I appear back home, and then I sit down and mostly work on community stuff, right?
Hmm.
And I think that's kind of like the responsibility that you take upon yourself when you open a place like this, right? And how can I say it? It's not really that I'm like, I guess many people think it's simple. You just sit down and do your thing. I think creating a community is obviously a noble effort. At the same time, you need to make sure when you open it that you do it for the right reasons, right? Like do it because you have like a good intent. Back then it was creating content for every kind of community, right? We were trying to build maps and like things that I can use for their combat, things that I can use as a place to rally up, right? And nowadays it's just basically for the people, obviously itself, right? So we kind of try to just do it and keep our standards there. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's more potential that we can harvest, right? In the same time, we need to also acknowledge that most of other like middle-aged individuals with full-time jobs in their own lives, right? So we already try our best in that regard. If anything, you can always rely on us hosting an event. If there's an event scheduled, there's most likely always a host there. I think we haven't canceled a single event in the past 2 years, right? Since we have like restructured some stuff, it's simply because we think a little bit ahead, and we have like always someone planned in to cover. We have always someone like as a replacement, and even if that replacement should fall out, we have like always officers like myself who then step in, right? So I think really important is to be reliable, that people can count on it, right? That you try to avoid canceling or doing that extra step. It's obviously work. Maybe it doesn't come in handy, but it's like a responsibility that you're taking up on yourself when you do these things. And I guess we have to be responsible for the people, for the sake of the people having a good time, right? I mean, yeah, we also try to enjoy our time, but that's like secondary in this regard. Like we know that the community is built by the people hanging out there, right? Especially the people who host these events, right? Like if I would probably be gone for a while, which is probably not good because the development is standing still, right? But technically I could be gone for like a month and the community would just continue going on, right? It just shows how important it is to have like fire team leaders, hosts, and you could say basically the middle of the community is the most important part because it's basically the reason why people stick around and hang around. They're basically the friends, the family that they basically choose to join, right? And we just make sure that everything runs smoothly and that everything is there when it's needed, right? And that there's content to do, right? And I cannot say more often how important and how thankful I am to have such capable people basically investing their time and investing their just everything, right? Give it their everything in the community and doing the things. I think it's super underestimated. That people constantly say, "Oh yeah, we did this, I did this," right? Like comment stuff and everything, like in the higher levels, is obviously very important, but you must understand that most people are here because of the activities on its own, and the people who host it with entertainment and passion and love, and that they think about creative ways to present it themselves. Right? So big shout outs on the operators and the organization levels, right? So basically the manager level of the community, and not really the boss level, I guess.
You know, a conversation I've had with a lot of people over the years is I'll use VRChat. In VR and places like VRChat, some of the best late game content isn't like what you can do for yourself. It's not doing a bunch of attending a bunch of raves and DJing there. It's not going to a bunch of RP events. It's running the community, providing others the exact same experience you had when you started, going from the one experiencing the game to the one providing the experience. Because
of course, yeah.
Like the conversation you hear a lot with people who like don't entertain communities after a while of mirror dwelling, this is boring, there's nothing left to do. When you go into a community, you find the game kind of feels different when you're providing that experience for others in a sense.
Of course, yeah.
So I think some of the best things you can do is run a community, as you said.
Yeah, like if you, as you say, it's like it really depends on who you play it with, right? If you play any games like Blackout and Murder, especially those games, right? You usually have those knife runners, right? Like those annoying people, like in Call of Duty, that run around and you stab you and you just stab, right? Like if you ever notice, so they have like those people who murder without interaction, which is completely fine. That's how the game is supposed to be played, right? But if you play it with friends, you realize, wow, there's so much more creativity, so much more possibility, right? You have like people who then don't just run up to you, stab you. The people who actually like will freeze or like talk to each other, right? Or maybe even protect. So it's simply how you play it with friends, right? It becomes like a different experience. Roleplay gets into it, right? And suddenly, instead of having like the person being just executed and the person moving on, to have a hostage situation, like how does that happen? Like why? That's not the purpose of the game. Well, it's kind of like how people utilize their tools, right? And if they utilize them like this, right, things like murder become super interesting, right? It's suddenly not just murder, it's more like, I mean, the murder is not really drilled on winning, more like simply to have a good time, right? If your goal changes from like winning a game, but to just simply enjoying a game or trying to role play it differently to just make it more entertaining, it's incredible what you can do, right? I guess it's kind of like what you have with any kind of playground, right? Content is always great to have like everything made, like it's great to have this table, it's great to have this conference room, it's great to have a really high-end calibration stage, right? But if you really look back and like, especially in the older days when there was not much around, right? You realize people depend on roleplay. And if you see in other games, they have like stick and stones in the sandbox, right? And they manage to pull something off that's very fun and entertaining. It technically means you don't need a lot to make something entertaining and engaging. You just have to be very creative about it. You have to work with the right people, right? And these people and, well, that idea that you have can be really transformed into something that is true enjoyable content.
Oh, well, thank you very much for letting us know
Yeah,
some
you're
of your
completely
favorite
right. I
things.
agree with that.
I very much
agree to you.
I always enjoy seeing communities sprout out from VRChat, and seeing new ones sprout and have fun and enjoy themselves has always been something I find cool, which also means there's more lore for me to learn about as people go do things. So there's that. And same question to you two. What have been some of your favorite events or things or memories or favorite memories from within the group? I'd like to hear yours as well.
I get into trouble if I speak of my favorite event of the recent time. But I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to take the trouble. I'm going to take the trouble, and I'm going to speak about it anyway.
Do it.
Because my favorite event in recent times wasn't on VRChat. And yeah, it's only because we had a beautiful event, because we usually playing a VRChat. But we also had our first official event in Star Citizen. Different game. Not going to go too much into detail. But we had a blast. We had a lot of people enjoying. And we picked this up, and this got like a lot of motion, and we got more and more people interested. And to be short, we had a lot of blast. But if you're gonna talk about VRChat in particular, it would be much more difficult to say what's my favorite event. I like every event.
Memory in general. Does it be an event, like a memory of something that's happened or anything like that? Anything?
Yes. I would, and I'm sorry to mention it again.
No,
It
it's
would
okay.
still have to be PJKT. The opening. So basically, how it worked is PJKT opened on Friday. At least our time, Friday evening for me, and on Sunday evening we had a big fleet rally. And fleet rally is always where it's one of our largest events where most of the people come and enjoy to hang out. And we went to PJKT together. And having in this like threw me back to like many years ago, having 60 or 50 people all lined up facing a stage, and you have to take the stage and address everyone and answer questions from everyone. That just threw me back by like 15 years, because I used to do theater. And I used to be on stage and perform on stage. So it threw me back to that time, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Standing on a stage with like
Nostalgia.
50 people facing you, all being like silent, and you have to talk to everyone and like be on a stage and stuff like that. But it's like, you
I'm
know,
sure
all
you
these
so
people,
well.
you know all these people, and they are actually interested in what you're going to do. Which, to be fair, in theater, people are also interested in what you're going to do, but for different reasons. But like addressing everyone and being able to do that, yeah, it brought me back to long years ago when I did similar things for other groups.
Wow. Well, thank you very much for telling us that.
The speech.
The
My
speech?
speech.
So it's a speech
My
on
Good
the
job,
stage.
Nox.
Yes, so
didn't
basically
realize.
at the start of PJKT, I held a little speech explaining PJKT and what is our plan, what we're gonna do, how things work, and stuff like that. And went back a bit like a podium discussion, but the closest thing I can on the spot come up with would be a podium discussion, where it's like or like a press conference maybe would be closer.
Welcome to my
Where it's
TED
like
Talk.
I explain what's going on, and then people can throw in their question, and I would answer their questions. Things like, oh, how do we do it with a booth? How do I clock in to get assigned a certain level of time? And when are we going to be at the booth? And stuff like that. And I think that is, yeah, probably like one of my more distinct memories of the more recent times.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you very much for sharing that. I'm very glad that you shared it. I enjoyed that. Thank you. Oh,
No worries.
what about you?
Ice
Like
cream.
favorite ice cream notwithstanding right now. I will get some later. But I would say my favorite event in recent memory. Well, I have only been in the group for 1 year, so I will just take the entire thing into consideration. I would actually say my first ever event joining the group, because to me that was such a basically magical experience. I just walked into a room. I barely knew anyone. Hell, I knew 2 people that were there. Just began chatting with everyone, like I normally do, because I'm a fucking chatterbug. And before I knew it, I left that instant with all of a sudden 50 new friends on VRChat and 10 more on Discord. And ever since then, my DMs and VRChat inbox has been blowing up. Anything from, hey, do you want to play this random ass game together? Or, hey, this Friday, do you want to do karaoke? So for me, it's a bit all over the place. Yes. So for me, it's basically been, I cannot put a pin on it, because to me, I freaking love every second that I spend in this community. Because I would not trade it with the world.
Wow.
That I can get, because the time when you join the community, yes, I can really see. Well, no, that's not where I wanted to go. I'm sorry, everyone. I accidentally hit the wrong button. Okay, no, but like joining the community, yeah, I can understand that. I think it would be similar for me, because I remember joining first, and I remember this being over there, which is the leader of the group. She was mute when I joined back then, and I remember like I joined off of a friend, and that was like one of my first times I met all these people. Not all of them, but like a chunk of them. And I remember, because I was used to from previous groups that the leaders were like these higher people, and usually like relatively, or seemingly, let's say seemingly, relatively disciplined and like relatively strict people, more like how you would imagine an officer or a general of an army would be, right? And then yeah, this bean over there was jumping around me and just enjoying herself, to put simply, yeah, and like just being a bundle of joy. And I was like giving her head pats and everything. And then a friend of mine was like, "Oh, and who are you?" And the friend of mine was like, "Yeah, that's the leader of the group."
Confusion.
I was sold. If a leader of a group can be like that casual and chill with people, that's already a good start.
You know, I remember some of my earliest thoughts and involved with like talking with groups, and I always thought people who ran groups, raves, or events were like some great matriarch or patriarch that you can't really talk to, like celebrity, like one would say. But I learned over time that's not the case. They're just people. Like I don't know why I had that in my head. Like I was like terrified to talk to people like you and Evoxy or either of you. It's like why would I want to bug you? You're running stuff and doing things. I'm just gonna go over here in my little corner or whatever. But it's kind of interesting how when you interact with groups such as yours, whether you're starting it or head patting the leader, how wrong you can find yourself a lot of the time. At least here in VRChat, it's that way anyway.
I mean, aren't you like a celebrity yourself at this point?
Pardon?
Aren't you like kind of like of a celebrity like yourself?
I'm in denial.
I don't identify as
First
such.
stage of grief.
I identify as a problem, not a celebrity. Whoa. Whoa. And with that said, I do have another question for the three of you as well. Looking back, did you expect the journey in this group of the AWMC Industries that you've been on? Did you expect any of this at all, or has it all just been a journey, one would say?
I think, how can I say it? I'm a developer, so basically we're creating stuff. I get nervous on the stage, right? So I got other people who usually do the stage thing, but sometimes I have to. But yeah, I'm a developer at heart, so technically I just focus on my next project, right? And even if things like I know things cannot always be in uptime. There's like good times and bad times, right? Like a little bit high and lows, right? But I don't take it so serious. I think it's like there are times where things like a little bit slow down, things get busy, right? Multiple individuals maybe fall out. It happens, right? The most important is simply that you just try to keep it up and obviously catch up what is basically been missing. So if there's like someone falling off who cannot host, the other one replaces, as I said before, right? So we kind of try to cover everything so that we can continue operations really responsibly, right? But I never really worry so much about what happens in a year, what happens to it besides PGKT. That's something I want to plan for next year. But I usually don't really worry so much into the future. I see the problem at hand and we try to address the problem at hand. We try to address the projects that basically kind of going to be coming up every 2 months, right? Those are like the priorities, and I would kind of say focus on what you have right now. I mean, you will not make it until then if you do whatever now. Like, it's really easy to usually fuck up something, and then you kind of like find yourself in a ditch, right? It's the best thing is always to focus on the problem at hand, and just try to build step by step towards your whatever goal it is, right? For me, it's simply just see something succeed, right? And I also know not everything is forever, right? We all get older too, right? We all become responsible individuals. We try to do it. We try to do our best, and I think that's what counts, right? And yeah, so for me, it's simply see the community succeed, right? And if it's step by step, that's fine. I just don't want to make myself any super ambitious goal into the future, right? If there's problems right now that we need to address, and I mean not really problems, simply it's always a constant development of new content. It's a constant development how to improve things, right? And it obviously costs a lot of time, right? So there's many times I'm gonna have to watch my friends play hours and hours on games. I'm just watching. I usually stick to movies nowadays, but I feel like I watched everything that there's out in the open world, right? Besides maybe some Bollywood movies, right? But basically, I watch stuff so I can develop things, and I usually watch my friends playing so I can develop things. So it's simply very busy, right?
Hmm.
But I keep telling myself that's what it is, and that's what I wanted at the start, and I'm not gonna drop this simply because things become too busy. It's hard, but these things not supposed to be easy. It's a huge responsibility, and I'm also really happy that there's so many people who enjoy the time, right? And it kind of like comes down to the people who organize it, right?
Hmm. Ooh.
That's what we chose.
Hmm.
We go with the fate that we chose.
What about
Work hard and you'll see the benefits.
what about you two? Did you expect the journey you've been on since you joined, or was this whole thing just been a fun ride?
Oh, it has been a fun ride. To put this out there, it has been a fun ride. No, but if you would have told me 9 years ago, which was way before I start like getting really into online communities, that at some point I'd call a online community on a virtual world where I never have seen half of the people ever in real life.
Guild was guild.
Shut up! If you had asked me to call that home, like genuinely home, I would probably have called you crazy. If you would have asked me 4 years ago, I'd have called you mildly crazy. If you ask me today, no, AI is my home in a quite serious sense. I'd say it's a second home, and there's a few other places I'd want to be rather. We have our sometimes we have our struggles, sometimes more, sometimes less, but I'd never give it up. As much as I love to, I'm a German, to be clear, I'm a German. I love to criticize things. My best compliment I can give you is that I did not find anything to complain about. So even about AWMC Industries, I will find things to complain about, but as much as I complain, it's still my home, and I love it. And I did not expect it when I first joined, that it would be such a nice ride. To be honest, I expected that it would be cool. I didn't expect it to be that cool.
Yeah. Like, to be honest, I would never even myself expect any of this to happen. Like, how should I even put it into layman's term? Like, I never expect to meet the friends that I know now close as family, that like anything. Hell, in 9 days, I'm gonna be traveling to Belgium to meet one of them IRL.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, and basically gonna be having fun down there for the next week. Like, I would not have believed that whatsoever like 2 years ago, when I first began maybe looking into getting into VRChat. And here I am now.
Hmm.
It has been such a crazy ride, and I don't want to jump off. It's like one
You're
round.
making it sound like a trip. Are you tripping?
Just one more round.
It's like a carousel. I don't want to get off.
Oh.
I'm having fun here, Mom. Don't take me off. We have to go home. No.
Never. I am here to stay.
So I have another question
I
as
live
well.
here now.
That's kind of I've been curious about started. What is the lore for AWMC?
Nice. Do you want to
It's
have a
200
crack?
pages long. It's 200 pages long. Why did you ask this? Okay.
I find myself
Gets longer.
a searcher of lore in VRChat. I'm not gonna tell him. You're gonna have to make it brief. I'm gonna let him speak. I'm never gonna interrupt someone if with this stuff. I enjoy it. At least that's me.
Keep it short.
I'm gonna go grab the popcorn.
Supposed to keep it short. If she says 200 pages, she's exaggerating, but only because it's 102 pages.
Yeah, but you could technically watch the commercial. That's like a very short version. Like we have the advertisement that we have.
Yes. So the advertisement, you find it if you go onto YouTube and you search for AWMC Industries, and then it's probably easiest to find if you go for DPM Productions. I think it's what it was called.
Yeah, that's basically the person for the sound design. Like you could either just write AWMC Industries or you should write a bigger stick. But Yeah,
Bigger stick.
back to
Yes,
the law part,
at
yeah.
the bigger
Back
sticks.
to the law part, yeah.
I'm sure you will find it. Maybe I also can link it below this video as
Of
well,
course.
for simplicity, I think, because if you search for AWMC Industries, you find various things. I have checked myself trying to find the video. But yes, lore-wise, how do I keep this short without blowing this entirely out of proportions? So we are spacefaring androids. To give you the very rough edges, right? I'll keep you. I'll give you the overview, and if you then have questions, I can answer you any questions you have. I guarantee it. I'll give you the shortest version I can come up with. 1940s, 1950s, Second World War. Projects of the United States with the idea of creating superhumans, right? Like these crazy projects they had. Well, I said, well, what if there was one project where instead of trying to create a superhuman through, let's say, some stims and whatever, we transfer the mind, like the entire mind of a human body, and put it into a machine. Similar to what you might see from very old sci-fi movies with like brains in jars attached to some machine, stuff like that, right? So this is the really early origin stories. One of these projects, led by a certain someone, was to do that very thing. And it was sabotaged, but she survived. She was actually the only survivor, and she was the 7th person to have, like, there were 10 researchers, lead researchers, who were attempted the first time to be transferred. She was the 7th of these 10 people, and that is why she is now FX07, sitting over there. So she was the original android to be transferred. The entire project was under the cover of ISB, which is now sitting over there, which is part of ISB, obviously, but yes, so ISB. I need to keep in mind that I want to keep it short. Okay, so
You got it
you
now.
have to keep in mind. The story, or like the past until then, is largely the same. So like the last 3,000 years, they were basically the same. But at this point, this is where our story is going to deviate a bit. 1940s, we basically have androids more similar to what you might find in a 19th, like for example, Metropolis kind of style, right? So like steam everywhere and those large machines and it's clunky and stuff like that, right? So this is what we are going to deploy World War II as secret weapon into the Normandy, right? So yes, so you know they deploy on the Normandy, as well as how was it called? The attack and the drop onto the Italian shore, where they dropped with parachutes, like stuff like that. And it was like those legends, which then no one would ever believe that there were those giant machines, like larger than a human, which would crush entire tanks. No one would believe you if you were told to tell that, even if it was the truth. No cameras back then, right? Well, barely any cameras during that time. A bit later down that road, we split even further away, where basically they were like robot uprisings in a sense, but more so in the sense that people feared robots. Because AWMC Industries back then was established to be a manufacturer of various applicants, including basic robots. We're not talking anything super fancy, but people still feared it. And so they started fighting and killing and destroying various robots and robot alikes, which is also why we started to develop to look indistinguishable from humans. Really big, important feat for us, because if you are indistinguishable, it less humans, and not talking in the uncanny sense, like you would see with like synth people from like Fallout, where it's like they look a bit human. No, I'm talking like if like the androids from Nier Automata or Stellar Blade, stuff like that, like this level of indistinguishability. So we said, okay, we are these androids, and we kind of developed a bit faster, right? Because artificial intelligence is developed as well and stuff like that. So what we did is we already went out into space, because robotic bodies means you can go into space without having to struggle too much. we started building up a base and stuff like that. I'm not going to go too much into detail, but basically we detected, oh, wait a second, those aren't our ships, which are coming in hot. Keep in mind, we're still talking in a relatively sciencey kind of fiction, where a ship coming in isn't something Star Wars like it appears the next day at your doorstep, but like it flies in and you can detect it from a long range that there is something out there coming towards you. And we suspected that they are probably not the most friendly because they were really big ships. And we were like, you know what? Maybe they're like aiming towards Earth. Maybe we should evacuate humans. And keep in mind, at that time, there was the start of the war, World War III. Now, governments, being governments, were like, that threat isn't real, right? They were downplaying it, and they were saying, no, let us focus on the war, and basically saying, you know what, no, we're gonna deal with the war first, and evacuation, and we can deal with it another time. And what happened is and here's where what is publicly known and what is not publicly known deviated for the next 200 years. Publicly, the aliens landed and destroyed Earth. AI, with a handful of humans, left Earth behind, having no other choice, leaving for Titan, which is a moon of Saturn.
Yeah.
We have built up a colony there and everything, and we started to become a weapons manufacturer mostly, and later down the road an entire basically military superpower you can hire, like mercenaries. And we built our empire based on that and developed a planetary shield and terraformed the entire planet. A big factor has to do with the exponential development of artificial intelligence, right? So you know how technology, like how if you would tell somebody like 100 years ago that you can save an entire encyclopedia with every known human on a single fucking disk this size, like a block this size, they'd call you crazy. Nowadays it's reality. You can do that, right?
Yeah.
So if you follow this trajectory, you arrive at even on a very short period of time, you can reach exorbitant levels of development. So I followed in the law, this basically follows true that we develop exponentially. There's a reason why not every other species did the same, but I'm not going to go into that because that's an entire episode on its own to deep dive into the law. We can do that another time if you want to. But this is the official part. There is an unofficial part. Well, you see, the guys, the ships going to Earth, they weren't hostile. Not at all. They were a probe. Now, if you have a background in history, you might be aware of the Cold War, Soviet Russia's dead hand system, where if there was a nuclear blast detected, and it was not stopped, they would automatically launch a counterattack.
Yeah.
What happened is that this probe, in its transit across the universe, it was damaged and it crash landed in what would be nowadays would be like Russia, right? Triggering this dead man switch, and it wasn't stopped in time because they believed this was a nuclear attack. Nuclear war broke out is what happened. We didn't know that until way later, because what happened is that this probe basically started sending out a signal, which we basically translated to, don't come close, this is now our planet and we will attack everything on sight. What they meant is, this planet is hostile and will attack everything on sight, because, well, if you land somewhere with a probe and there is nuclear war going on, you're going to assume that the species here is going to be hostile. We didn't go back to Earth for another 200 years. Until we went back and we're like, oh, wait a second, what went on here? Yeah, but I don't want to go too much more into detail about the law, because I can talk the rest of the entire episode if you want to, only about the law of AI. Because basically what I explained, you have to understand, this was like one page.
Oh, wow.
Of like 102.
You're supposed to keep it short to make it understandable.
But it's lore.
I think I kept it short. Okay, I think I kept it short.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. This is a podcast where I want you guys to talk, so I think he should talk as much as he wants. Not to...
Okay, let's keep going.
Are you sure about that?
No.
What inspired all of this lore?
Okay, yeah, that's
We don't
relatively.
have our own universe. Simple as that. Like we need to
Yes.
establish our own universe, and very talented Nox was contributing. Well, basically the head author, or we call him head librarian in that regard, to basically keep the records of time, and it's honestly very hard to set foot with your own lore. It's kind of like you have to establish your own brand kind of deal, right? So obviously we could lean ourselves to like any kind of fandom which already exists to basically have an easier foot on things, right? But obviously it doesn't really work. Like if we go to XYZ individual in public, right? And say, hey, you guys, you like this? I was like, I've never heard about it, right? And I'm not familiar with this franchise. So you kind of have to establish something which is very interesting and very intriguing, right? And somewhat complex that people actually see, okay, this is actually something people take serious, and people like as if you would play a good D&D game, right? You need to have someone who's very competent in establishing a good environment, which is very interesting, right? And especially if you're spoiled with nowadays games like Baldur's Gate and stuff, right? It's obviously really hard. So if you would just lean yourself to, let's say, to the game, right? Let's just example Star Wars or basically Marvel, or basically any existing universe. You could say, oh yeah, we be based on this. Oh yeah, I understand this. I love it, right? I'm already a fan of it, right? And for us, it's obviously we said because the first expression is mostly like, I never heard about this. I don't really. I don't know if I find this interesting or not. So it's quite important to have like your own lore, have it very interesting, very detailed, right? Because people can read into it and they can find a liking to it, right? And when you find that liking into people, like, okay, that's something interesting. And the fact that I can contribute to that lore, basically establishing their own lore, even if it's sometimes canon or not, right? It's nice to have because you can be actual part and you have relevancy in that lore, right? You're not just a side character who enters the lore, which is already since 50 years established, right? But you actually like can be one of the people that's like anchor points to that story, right? So yeah, it's a really hard start, but once you get there, right, it becomes easier. I mean, it's still a struggle to still like spread this huge lore across the community, but it's our end goal to basically enhance the roleplay, enhance the knowledge about the community itself, and it's just a necessary. It gives us also a little bit more freedom in how we structure things because we're not down to any universe. Like if you think about like Star Trek, right? They have obviously the entire structure already laid out, the ranks are laid out, everything is laid out, right? So you can obviously look it up and have like all the ranks appear there, right? And it basically tells you how you should do it, right? And if you want to be somewhat lore accurate, you will obviously stick to it, right? And we have basically the other issue around where it's basically we don't have anything to stick to, so we need to get examples out of the real world. We can combine things that's supposedly not that you've never seen combined before, right? Which we can do because we are our own makers, kind of deal, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, not only in our worlds we do everything from zero, but I guess even in our law, we basically establish everything from the ground out, and it was very difficult to do it. It's incredibly difficult to put foot onto like a platform with something people have no idea what it's about. Oh, someone blue screened.
Ooh.
And yeah, so I'm really glad Nox picked that up. Nox is insanely talented when it comes to sci-fi things. A super nerd. Super nerd in that regard.
Oh, yeah. To be fair, there's a broader reason as to why I picked up writing the law for AI, and it is multifaceted. So first off, when I joined, and I love to write about my own original characters. I'm a hobby writer, like a hobby author. I do a lot of roleplay, mostly like D&D and D&D likes, and creating my own world. I've been a forever DM. A shout out to anyone out there who is a forever DM. My
Always
apologies to you. I'm a
Lucky
forever
zero.
DM. Yes, so I've been a forever DM for many years. Like since I've been 12, which 17 years.
Wow.
So I have been a DM for longer than some people have been on Earth in our own community. So I've
You
always
sound
been
like
used to
ancient.
writing and lots of world creation and stuff like that. But there's always one thing which peeved me across all sci-fi universes, and that is how they severely deviate from reality. Where it's, no, this would not work like this way in science. It wouldn't work, right? So my idea was, let us go as close as possible to actual science and how it could actually work in actual science without using some super fancy fantasy matter. It didn't work entirely, to be fair. There's here and there points where I had to say, okay, you just got to put this part into fantasy, because otherwise explaining it becomes borderline impossible. One note on that is, how do you communicate? Like, even one light year, nothing can travel faster than light. Yeah, not gravitational waves, not neutrino, nothing. Not even information can travel faster than light. So if it's 1 year away, it's 1 year away. There's no way around. So you
Actually,
need to implement.
Very recently,
Yes.
it is possible because they figured out how to quantum teleport data and information long distances. Quantum teleportation, you take
Did
two
they-
particles and switch places. Are you enjoying the episode you're watching so far? Then feel free to check out the rest of the stuff we have over here in the Metaverse Degen network. We have other interviews from everyone from VRChat staff to VCAT and PJKT. We talked with world builders and creators. So if you want to learn more about VR and VRChat, check it out. Also, we have a actual play podcast, Hold My Own, which honestly, we're just a bunch of idiots rolling dice. So if you like that kind of thing, feel free to come hang out with us over there. And if you should find any of their socials and stuff, so you can go on metaversedegen.card.co. Over on Patreon, we actually started putting the pre-show content for Hold My Own, which we talk about before the show, and as we all kind of start funneling into the world, getting ready. So if you want to go see that as well, feel free to go to our Patreon, which if a few people already subscribed, we'd like to give a special thanks to Frozen, Future Oracle, Aliquum, Niche, and Forbidden Zero. Thank you very much. Funny little hint, Forbidden Zero is also the DM.
Were they actually able to transport data? Because I'm not 100% sure on that.
I think they were able to.
Then it was very
recently.
Then
Yeah,
it was
very
actually
recent.
very recent.
It was.
But okay, not a topic. But anyway, basically that's the story behind why I wanted to create our own law. And when I even know why I write law to begin with. And so I was like, oh, you know what, I kind of want to write about my own character. So what do we have as far as the law goes? And Evoxy was like, yeah, so we have something on the VRChat legend side. Clicked on it, it was like this much. It was like a little short paragraph, and I was like, no, this one too. This one too. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna write it myself, and I'm gonna make it beautiful. It's gonna be big. It's no wait, I sound like a taco. No, but basically, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make up my own thing, and then I'm gonna put a lot of effort into it and make it very big. And it's still expanding to this. I have to hold back because we're already at over 100 pages, and I already have planned another 20 pages. But yeah, basically, I'm trying to write a novel about my own character, and for that, I needed a very stable framework to do that. And it's well on its way, but it's still way to go.
Oh. Well, thank you very
we
much.
take this block out of the sleeping schedule and we move it to the working schedule.
Yes.
It's also always
Basically.
to, we just take a little bit of this, we don't let sleep and a little bit more here, and then it's gonna be fine.
You say that. This one never basically sleeps. If you have ever been to like party instances in Discourse and whatever, you know that how usually it goes. It's like, yeah, be like in green avatars, and if you try to get 60 people in like their avatar into an instance, you will crash because it's too performance heavy. There's a reason why we can manage 60 people in one instance, and the major lag factor is a fucking name tag above our head. Because
wow.
Yeah, but it's
she
because
optimizes
transparency,
the
it stacks
avatar
up.
ridiculously. Like, you know how other avatars are fan feature, but they're not optimized? Yeah, our avatars are optimized. They're good. All of our avatars are green.
There's a lot
No
of
exception.
features on there. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, we serve, like, we don't put too many features on them necessarily. We keep it, like, to a minimum. But still, to the fact
mean,
that they
there
are
is a
so
lot of features on
optimized
it
that you
still.
can go onto a club in your uniform without issue, that is because she doesn't sleep.
I mean, to be fair, I try to min-max it, so I guess you can always make it more optimized, right? But obviously, we have like multiple camouflages on the models that like have all the hue shifts, right? There's like audio hue on it, so it's actually reactive to music, right? There's two different ones. You can also change that. You have like individualized glasses on it, right? So there's a good chunk of people that you can toggle a bunch of stuff on it, right? You have different species on the model. So on this one, I have the cat species and the elf species and the human species, right? So there's like a bunch of stuff on it, right? But I've been literally min-maxing what we can do with the performance that we're having, right? So it's like, if there would be mostly like 20 polygons too much, it just just blows out of the perspective, right? But yeah, I think the reason why UIs are obviously super performance heavy is because they're slightly transparent. Like if I look through the name, you have like, you can see through it a little bit, right? And now imagine that stacks like with like 20 people in a row, right? And it's basically transparency stacks on transparency and stack, right? I think that's what makes it performance heavy, right? You're not supposed to stack so many transparent objects in front of each other or behind each other. But yeah, either way, it's not easy to do it, right? It's also a little bit limiting. But in order to basically address the limiting part, we just have multiple kind of uniforms, right? So people can choose basically a bunch of bases that they can use, right? It obviously restricts us to have guns on normal models. I mean, there's gonna be eventually a model with a gun on it, right? Which gonna be not optimized because it just blows the dimensions. Unfortunate, right? I wouldn't say guns in general are unoptimized, but I would also say the VRC optimization thing, the requirements are very strict, right? And some things I would say they should be adjusted to nowadays time, but at the same time we're introducing now Android and iOS into the platform, right?
Yep.
So I don't think we're gonna see higher limits to be hired because it's simply becoming more accessible for even more low-end gear, right? So if anything, we would need to optimize stuff more. But at this time, I think we're pretty happy with what we are, right? Which is a PC VR or desktop community, like both works, right? And even though Quest can technically join us and be here, right? It's more like the established community itself has got so used to the content that we're doing, which is mostly PC heavy, right? We would hate to obviously restrict the members that are used to it to basically not do this anymore. It's like, hey, we used to do this for many years and now we cannot do this anymore. And I think that's why we're gonna stay at least, for a little bit longer until gear gonna be stronger. But I'm pretty sure eventually we're gonna see high-end processors even in like standalone gear, right? I mean, things become insanely crazy nowadays. Like you have like insanely performance, like phones become insanely performance, like capable of high performances, right? And I would arguably say some of those mobile games, like on the one or other phones, look even better than in some people's PC, right? So Yeah, I think it's gonna take with time. Eventually, Quest's gonna be also like optional. Well, having the option to hang out in more performance-heavy content, right? That's basically what we're hoping for. But it's not because we don't want to do it. I mean, it's really nice because they already optimized the models. You can switch it to Android technically, right?
Mm.
But it's also something that would restrict us if we would say, okay, we do only Quest now, then we can probably scratch 30-40% of the words that we'll be using out of it.
Mm.
And for us, it's simply important to take care not about the future in kind of sense, like we don't want to say, okay, we want to open up, we want more numbers, more quantity. Like we always say, we want to take care of the people that are here already, right?
Mhm.
And this is our first priority. I think the two speeches that we had during PGKT, both times before the rallies, before we moved there, it was always the same, which is simply go, like first priority is simply hang out, look around, have a good time, right?
Mm.
And like if you've run into someone that you think fits pretty well to the community, you may invite them, right? But we're not really running around and basically telling people, oh, you should join, right? I mean, it's a good endeavor for some communities. For ourselves, we don't really look to just get as many people into the community. We just want to have a good time. And when you have a good time, you will run into people just naturally. That's what I think is most important. Just let it happen naturally. And I think the best way to promote anything is to convince people by your product, right? Let your product speak for itself. If you host good events, it's gonna be like mouth of word, or how is it called in English?
Word of mouth.
Like it's gonna be spreading. Word of mouth. Word of mouth. Sorry, like there's a German
Right.
speaking for this. But yeah, what's the word of mouth? Just let the information travel through connections to friends. If people really enjoy something, they're gonna talk about it. Simple as that, right? So if you just focus on making good events, if you focus on making good content, if you try to focus on being approachable, right? Just be nice about things. It's gonna be spoken around, and it's gonna happen naturally. It's like a natural growth, right? It's actually what influencer always call organic growth, right? Just let it happen. Just try your best, and it's gonna just happen on its own, right? And I think that's the best and safest way to grow a community, because just think about it. If you have a huge increase spike, right, it comes with a lot of problems on its own, right? At the same time, you don't want to just add people who maybe doesn't fit to it. Like you don't want to falsely advertise anything either, right? You don't want to tell someone, oh yeah, you should join, but it's not really my kind of community. Yeah, but you should join anyways, right? It's like I think it's important to make sure that the person's actually interested in it, and the person actually is like what a good suit, right? It's a good way, not only for yourself, right? Because it saves you work, but it's also good for the person. So be mindful about it, and don't only think about the community, but what's best for that person. So if you think, oh, this person seems more like someone who would fit in there and there, but redirect them to a different community, right? Just basically act in favor for them, and I'm pretty sure that kindness is going to return eventually.
Well, I'm going to ask the last couple questions before we start wrapping this up. And thank you very much for your time, Al. Before we lead into that, it's been an absolute honor speaking and getting to hear from you. First question is the names used in VRChat. Where do they come from and why to use it? Then who wants to go first?
Funny.
Funny use that.
Well, for me, my username really just came from me just reading a bunch of manga at the time when I made it. Because originally I was an edgy person like everyone else, and used to call myself Battle Angel, ironically. And it just slowly but steadily over time just evolved. And by the end of it, people just said, wait, you're just way too loyal. I was like, oh wait, Loyal Angel. Done.
What do you mean with that?
I am simple.
Nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
Very
All right.
loyal. Interesting.
Shall I continue then?
Yes.
My name is actually I use it since for the last 8 or maybe 9 years by now. The story behind my name is relatively simple. My previous two names were just too complicated for people to understand. So my first name was written Lirura, spelled Lirura. Good luck getting an Australian or Scottish person to pronounce this remotely correct and to spell it out for people to actually write it down somewhere. You will not manage to do that. So I swapped eventually to another name, which was Suicra. I was too much into League of Legends at that time, and people would make the relatively toxic joke that Suicra was too close to Suicidra. Not nice, but what people did. I played a lot of roleplay, as I mentioned, or a lot of pen and paper, and I had made a character called Nox Vardin, which Nox is literally just night, Latin night, and Vardin has no deeper meaning, actually. It's I randomly picked it out from a German roleplay book, which has similar to like how D&D gives you suggestions for names, it does that too, but on a much larger scale. Like you have like 20 pages just filled with names in like tiny text to give you an idea. So I was like, that sounds cool. I picked it. And I was like, you know what? Nox is so short, so simple that no one will ever be able to not understand my name if I say I am Nox, and people will just be able to say my name. They don't have to worry about pronunciation or people misunderstanding my name. My name is Nox, 3 letters. You will be able to spell it out. But sadly, most games don't support only 3 letters, and the name Nox in many MMOs is like taken. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna name myself Nox Vardin, and I'm gonna put the Vardin behind every character name in any MMO ever. So I have Nox Vardin, Zafira Vardin, I have Suicra Vardin, I have, whatever,
Family name.
blah, 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 Vardin, it's probably me.
Oh. Well, thank you for sharing. It's an absolute honor to learn that. Very interesting, honestly. Well, thank you. What
What
about you?
about Lion Turtle?
Oh, my name is very simple. When I created my VRChat account, I was binge watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I was on the final or the episode where Avatar meets the lion turtle.
No.
And I was
Yeah.
ironically, one monitor had that, the other monitor I was signing up for VRChat, and I just looked over, went, lion turtle. I like this scene. Put it in. Stuck sense. Very simple.
Honestly, I was thinking about like this wise turtle that is like entire island size, right? I was thinking something in this direction. I mean, it's a very common sign, not only in Avatar, right? But just in Final Fantasy, you find something similar, right? I was like thinking, yeah, that sounds like a really big turtle. It sounds like a huge turtle. It could be like one of these island turtles. So it was the right guess, huh?
Yeah, it is. It also
Yeah, mine was
over
also very
time I've
simple.
also kind of began to identify with the lion turtle. Well, at least the scene where he talks with the lion turtle, the whole dealing with things non-violently without problem, and eventually it just kind of became synonymous with me. Although it was just a random spur of the moment, beep bop
Violence
boop,
is
here we
not
go.
the path. The realization of a young lion turtle, violence is not the path.
What about your name? Evoxy.
It's very simple, like like Eevee the Pokemon. It's a really cute Pokemon. In German, it's called Evoli. So it's basically translated differently. So I take Eve like from Eevee, like Evu,
Yeah.
and Foxy, and then Phew. So you have like the word Eevee and Foxy in the same name.
Ooh, that's actually really cool. I very much enjoy asking those questions of where does your name come from, because people identify themselves very differently, and can be very personal as well. And I've always wondered, why does
The hidden fairy
why does
inside
this
of me.
person call themselves Evoxy? Why does this person call themselves Nox and Loyal Angel? I want to know, what is the meaning behind this? And I just never asked, but now with this I can ask, and I enjoy. So thank you. And the avatars you're in, why did you choose it? Why do you use it? And is there anything about it that means anything to you?
We go down the same route, or do you want to start with me? And I'm going to talk for the next 20 minutes because I have a very long story behind why my avatar looks the way it does.
I have
But
I
I'm
like
glad that you
blue,
asked,
I like
but
white.
shut up. There's a reason behind it.
Nox, I find that hilarious. You have such a long explanation, and I'm sitting here. I have literally one sentence answer to that one.
Okay.
I could not decide for how I wanted to look, so I just asked Evoxy. Go nuts!
I chose something angelic, something that is unique.
Yeah, you
I thought it
basically
was
took my
fitting to
name
your
and ran with
name.
it.
Yeah,
And hey, it worked!
angelic creature you are.
Oh my god.
I'm a little
Okay.
bunny with Halo.
Look, that was a minute, Nox. You can do this.
What did I say? Simple answer.
Yeah, no. For me, there is a deeper story behind it, and if you want to, I will tell it, but it will take at least 2 minutes.
Yes, please.
If you have the time, it's a personal story. To be fair, so and this is actually something not that many people know about it, but by now I'm that comfortable that I'm willing to actually do it in public. So you have to imagine that when I moved to where I live now, I lost basically all friends. Okay, because I moved hundreds of kilometers to a completely different city, and I'm an introvert, so I didn't have many contacts. I'm not going to go too much into detail, but one led to another. I basically went into this depressive spiral, and everything went down and whatever. And what helped me through that time was this idea of sharing my own mind with another person. Which for many people it sounds like schizophrenia, but it isn't schizophrenia because I can distinguish between what's real and what isn't real. So it's something different. But basically, I imagined this person who back then was only a blue light, and I would call her Angel of Blue Light, Tenshi no Aero Hikari in Japanese. And eventually, I gave her the name Zafira because of blue, like a zephyr, right? And in German, it basically comes from Latin. If you go into a female, you just add a certain combination of letters, and for female, it's A. So Sapphire, and then Zaphira, basically being the Latin version of it. And this person developed from just a blue light to being a kitsune, which is a anthropomorphic creature between like a human and with like fox features. And I imagined her having white hair mostly, but eventually I added the blue into it. So my own avatar is quite literally my own guardian angel personified in essence. And yeah, it is quite important to me, these colors, and I have kept these colors across many instances in games. And keep in mind, this is like over like 9, no, actually longer. It's like 11 years ago now, so it's many years ago. And I've always used these colors, and I will keep using them because she still keeps me alive to this day. And without her, I wouldn't be here today. So, which sounds strange for many people that an imaginary person can do that to someone, but for me, it's the case. And I honor her in my own way, and in this case, for me, it's having my avatar look like her.
Wow. Thank you very much for sharing. It was an absolute honor to listen to. Thank you. And
I don't see
I
the
hope I didn't
turtle here. Yeah. I used to cosplay, and it happened to be it happened to be Star Guardian Army, and it looks a little bit different, right? Usually she has like pink highlights and blonde hair, right? And I have basically those pink streaks, and I used to have like a pink eye and a green eye. And over time, basically after I founded AI, basically the standard color for us used to be just blue, right? Just blue and white lights. And I was like, yeah, the green eye and the pink eye doesn't match so good to the blue light. And I guess it would fit better in the sci-fi perspective to have this eye adjusted to the AI color, to the AWMC Industries color, main house color. And then I was like, okay, I'll change it. And then I was like, oh, it's pretty suitable fit. I guess it's a nice way to start a new chapter, right? Because before that, I never really thought about this sort of like androids or anything, right? So I was like, oh yeah, that's a pretty cool way to develop your character lore, and yeah.
Ooh. Well, thank you very much, all of you, for answering my silly questions. I very much appreciate listening to all of your tales. With that being said, the last few questions, or the last question I have for you is: any of you wishes to find you and join your community or learn about your community, where would they go?
So for one, we have a VRChat group, obviously, which is AWMC. Let me look up the code, so I don't say anything stupid now. This would be really awkward if I give you the wrong number. Which is, where does it say? Oh, out there. AWMC I.7771. Or you go to our website. Yes, we have our own website, which is www.awmc.industries.
Wow.
For short, awmc.industries. And you will find every necessary information in the top right. There is a little Discord link, and through that you can join if you are interested.
Well, thank you very much. And we'll have all of that and the trailer link in the description for you to find. So if you go scroll down to YouTube, or if you go to YouTube and you go to a video description, right down there we'll have something labeled guest links for you to find, and all easy links for you to click if you don't want to go Google searching and searching through YouTube. Click that. If you're in Spotify, it'll be over in the episode description, same place, same label, easy to find. And this is the point we'll interact with you, the audience, a little bit. And I feel like sharing something, because after speaking with AWMC Industries, something popped in my head. And I thought it was, with that being said, I know a lot of people want things to last forever. They want things to not end, but sometimes the best way to live forever is through the memories you share with others. That is the best way for you to do that. At least I think so, because if you look back at all of the videos that we've listened to and just listen to everyone who's speaking, even the groups that are no longer around, they still remember all of it fondly. And to me, at least me as a person, think, then that group still lives on. Look back at Halo 2 when Halo went first online, all the groups and communities that talk about all the wonderful times they've watched their friends. I still even think fondly back to the Halo 1 live demo, and I still think back fondly of that. So in the memories you share with others and help create for others, the best way you can do that. No need to try and find some magic potion to live forever. Just share good times with people, take pictures and videos, you can always look back. With that being said, we'll see you off in the metaverse. Go make some memories, folks.
Water? It's only ankle deep, goddammit. No, it's higher than that. It's knee deep in my case. Oh, at least I know one thing's getting cleaned. It's a stream of it all. No peeing in the pool. Oh, it's not a pool. It's just a goddamn fucking setup. I'm just a poor old raptor taking a bath because I can't afford a bathhouse. Yeah, those bastards take gold coins. I don't have gold coins. Hey, feet are wet. Wee, 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 wee. Mom's gonna be pissed. I forgot to take my coat off. She's gonna be pissed. Hey, at least I did the laundry for her. She don't have to worry about it no more.